The movie begins in India, a country with very strange stories and tales. Among them is a story about a group of India's great rulers. They used to sit on this mountain and meditate, and as a result of their meditation, a divine light called Brahmāstra descended upon them. With this light came weapons with different powers. The most powerful among them is the power of fire, the second is the power of water, the third is wind, and the fourth is the power of bulls. But along with these various weapons, a weapon appeared in the form of a circle, a power capable of destroying the entire world, called Brahmāstra. The story continues. After each of them acquired a supernatural power, they united and were able to stop this weapon. They decided to protect it so no one could get near it. They all bowed before it, and after them, their children and grandchildren did the same. Time passed, generations followed generations, and with the passage of time, all that happened was forgotten. Until we reached the year 2022, specifically to Shiva, a young man who was one of the inheritors of these supernatural powers, but he still doesn't know his abilities. He doesn't know that the fire within him has great potential to save the world. But every time he closes his eyes, he sees stories of people he doesn't know. And he doesn't know if the people he sees are real or imaginary. One day, while worshiping this idol, he sees what's happening with the archaeologist Mohan in Delhi. Mohan is sitting peacefully, but he senses movement in the place. The first thing he does is secure the stone he has. Suddenly, Ravana appears and tells him, "This stone you have is what I need." But Mohan responds, "Stop pretending to be the hero. It doesn't suit you." Mohan replies, "You may be right, I'm getting old." He injures his hand, lets blood drop onto the stone container, and throws it far away. Zor gets angry, punches, and breaks the door. He enters and searches for the stone. Without them noticing, Mohan wears his power badge and starts fighting them left and right, but the henchmen aren't affected. Mohan says, "All right, let's agree that I can't kill you, and you also can't catch me." He actually leaves them and goes to the rooftop. He stays in his place until they leave the house and go away. Mohan goes back to his place. He stays there until they leave his house and go. Mohan descends, takes the device, which is the stone, but Junoon is in the place, runs toward him, and puts the necklace on him, completely controlling him. She takes off his power badge and takes the stone from him. He tells her, "Don't do this, Junoon. You don't understand this weapon. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could be devastating." She replies, "You didn't introduce me to the weapon. I've spent my entire life collecting this weapon to give it to the right person." Suddenly, Shiva wakes up, and as soon as he opens his eyes, he sees Aisha in front of him. He focuses on her, and she focuses on him. At night, Shiva goes to the disco, and he sees her there too. He's instantly drawn to her, like he can't take his eyes off her. The party ends, and Shiva runs after her. She gets into the elevator, and he rides with her. He goes over to talk to her, and he's totally trying to impress her. He invites her to this party he's organizing, saying, "You should come. It's going to be amazing." He takes her with him, and the two of them spend a crazy night together. The party Shiva is going to is a child's birthday in orphanage. He spends the birthday with him, and Isha admires his very tender personality. She starts to grow fond of him. They finish the celebration, and Isha sits with him for a while. They talked about his died mother, and that she died when he was young. "She almost abandoned me. All that's left of her is this shell. It's the only thing she left me. That's why I hold on to it so tightly." When Shiva turned off the lights while showing Isha the conch shell, he explained that the shell was special and that it glows in the dark. He told her to look at its light, emphasizing its beauty and uniqueness. Isha is deeply moved and starts crying. He holds her and grabs her hand, but suddenly a force attacks them. He lets go of her hand and the force disappears. He tells her, "You must leave immediately." She asks, "What happened?" He replies, "Please listen and leave." He goes outside and closes his eyes. He sees a vision where Junoon has tied up Mohan and completely taken over his mind. She asks, "What now?" "You have the first piece of Astra. Where can I find the second piece?" Strangely, Mohan easily answers her, but he speaks so that Shiva can hear and stay one step ahead of her. Mohan tells her, "The weapon has 3 pieces. The first piece is with you, the second is with Anish, and the third, the only one who knows its location, is the spiritual guide." She asks, "Where is it?" He replies, "In the religious retreat." She asks, "Where is the religious retreat?" He refuses to give her more information. So Zor goes to hit him, but Mohan kicks him, and he falls to his death. Shiva isn't aware of everything that happened, but he doesn't know if it's fantasy or reality. He goes to the temple, and by coincidence, the newspaper sees him. They quickly take him and read the news of the archaeologist Mohan's death. Shiva is shocked and rushes to the computer to confirm. He confirms that Mohan, the archaeologist, is reported in the news to have committed suicide. But Shiva is the only one who knows he was killed by Junoon and her companions, and he's sure that what he's seeing is real, not fantasy. He meets Isha and tells her everything that's happening to him. She says, "So Mohan was killed by a supernatural woman?" She laughs at him sarcastically. He tells her, "Believe what you want, but I need your help to reach someone before those criminals kill him." She says, come with me. She searches for the name. She tells him, Anish is also an archaeologist. He says, yes, that's him. She says, all right, if you're sure he's going to be killed, report it to the police. He replies, what should I tell them? Should I say I dreamed of the people who will kill him? I have to go and warn him before Junoon gets to him. She says, all right, I'll go with you. He replies, Junoon and her companions are very dangerous. I don't know what might happen there. He tells her, I won't leave you alone. And indeed, she goes with him. While on the way, he holds her hand, and without realizing it, fire bursts from a cup in his hand. Both of them are shocked. She asks him, are you okay? He replies, don't worry, I'm fine. Look, I'm just like you. I don't know what's happening, but the fire doesn't hurt me. She leaves him and walks away. He runs after her saying, by the way, it's not my fault that I was born this way. I don't know why all this is happening to me. You have every right to be afraid of me and walk away. She says, I'm not afraid of you. I was afraid for you, but I was upset with you because you hid something like this from me. He tells her, I love you. She asks, what do you mean? He says, I loved you from the first time I saw you. I love you and will keep loving you until the last day of my life. She stands there stunned by his words and is on the verge of falling. She grabs onto the girl's hand. This girl is Junoon. She leaves her and walks away. He looks shocked and says, that's Junoon. And those are the two with her. Come on, quickly, before they reach Anish. They go inside. Aisha tells him, look over there. That's one of them. How did he jump all those distances? He tells her, come on, before he leaps at the man and kills him. They enter inside. Anish follows her, and Junoon is also behind her. Are you afraid? He asks her. She replies, go into the trance. Don't be afraid. They don't even know. She says, all right, look, you follow Anish, and I'll stall them so no one comes after them. She does as she says and goes to Anish, or is able to talk to him. But Ravathor is onto them. Does she bump into him and stall him? She says to him, excuse me, can I borrow your phone to make a call? But the phone dies. He tells her, I don't have a phone. Find someone else. She leaves him and walks away. He looks around and finds that Anish has disappeared. He keeps searching for them in the place. Shiva finds that Anish is hiding. Ravathor leaves them and walks away. Shiva tells Anish, I know you're a member of Brahma, and I know you have a connection to Mahan. Don't be surprised, I found out how. The important thing is, I came to warn you. Your life here is in danger. We need to leave immediately. But Ravathor comes from behind her and says, your phone is working, isn't it? Who are you? He's about to kill her, but Shiva jumps on him and pushes him away. Shiva doesn't know how to deal with him. He grabs that weapon and tries to shoot at him, but he keeps dodging and no bullets hit him. He takes the weapon from Shiva and shoots him, and it's about to hit his heart. Anish comes running and takes the bullet instead. He doesn't die because, in reality, he has the power of the bull. He gets up and strikes Ravathor, knocking him to the ground. He tells them, come on, quickly. But Junoon arrives at the scene and locks all the doors. Anish strikes the ground, opening it, and they escape from the lower floor. They take the car and flee. On the way, Shiva says, we need to go rescue the spiritual guide, because they're going to him too and will kill him. Anish gives them the address. They keep driving for a long time. They rest on the way. Shiva says, I want to know something. There is a very powerful weapon divided into 3 pieces. If assembled, it will form a circle like this. He says, that's Abraham Astra. How did you know that? There is a very powerful weapon divided into 3 pieces. If assembled, it will form a circle like this. He says, Abraham Astra. Do you know all this? Astra is a very powerful weapon that can destroy the entire world. He says, Junoon wants to collect this weapon. She has the first piece, the second is with you, and the third is known to the spiritual guide. He says, I believe in this piece. As soon as he sees it, he has a vision of a statue of a strange person he doesn't know. The place changes, and he sees the stone of Junoon in front of him. He tells them, Junoon is very close to us. He looks around. He tells them, she's in that car over there. Anish tells them, you need to leave here immediately. Aisha, keep this stone with you. Deliver it to the spiritual guide and send him my regards. Shiva tells him, you're coming with us. He replies, who's going to stop Junoon? I have to stay here to stall them. If Junoon gathers this weapon, a great disaster could happen. They leave him and walk away. He indeed stands in front of Junoon's car. As soon as he approaches, he attacks them fiercely. Shiva sees everything happening in a vision. Zor keeps striking the weapon on Anish until they stop him. He gets up again. He keeps dragging them until he throws them down, and he falls with them. They all die. Aisha tells Shiva what happened. He tells her, Junoon, Zor, and Anish are dead. She says, all right, let me drive in her place. Suddenly, Ravathor appears in front of them. He keeps chasing them until they reach the spiritual guide's palace. But Shiva, in front of the palace, jumps out of the car and throws Ravathor down with the car. He goes to the palace, but finds the door locked. Shiva jumps to open the door from inside. Aisha tells him, me too. He tells her, what are you? She replies, that's my response to your words when you told me you loved me. At the time, I couldn't respond. He becomes very happy, but Ravathor isn't done. He runs toward Aisha and he's about to kill her. Shiva gets angry and finally his power emerges from his body. He burns Ravathor and throws him away. The spiritual guide had seen everything. After Shiva finishes, he collapses silently. They take him inside and put him to sleep. Shiva sees a vision of Junoon. She is at the statue he always sees and tells him, I have collected pieces of the Astra weapon. Only 2 pieces remain. One is with the spiritual guide, and the other is with a new person in the game, who apparently has abilities far greater than mine. Today he killed one of my companions. That's why I'm asking you to give me more power to fight them and retrieve the rest of the weapon from them. She returns to life, and indeed, they follow her request. They give her many stones to build an army. Shiva wakes up and goes down to Aisha. He takes her in his arms and says, I'm sorry I scared you. Come on, let's leave here. Suddenly, the young men enter. Aisha greets them and says, do you know them? She replies, of course, these are talented heirs and we've come to the spiritual guide to train them. Sina tells him, the spiritual guide is waiting for you eagerly. He wants to talk to you. Go to him. And indeed, he goes to him and stands before him. He tells him, look, son, don't judge people by appearances. Anyone who sees you from the outside would say you're an ordinary young man, but inside you're a fierce warrior with incredible power. I'm the same inside and out. There's no difference. He tells him, look, son, we are all here to carry the celestial weapons, but you're different from all of us. You yourself are a celestial weapon. Yesterday, you burned someone in the most horrific way because he tried to harm you. Let me tell you, this is just the beginning. One day, with just a spark from you, you will destroy an entire village. What do you think of my words? He responds, I think you are kidding. He replies, you have every right not to believe me, but you must stay with me because I'll make you a mighty dragon. He says, honestly, it's a great opportunity to join you, but my answer will shock you. I don't want to be a destroyer or a savior. I want to leave here and live a semi-normal life like you said, without any involvement in protecting weapons or all this commotion. They say to him, why not? You don't have another choice. Have you ever wondered why this story is happening to you specifically and why you ended up here? All of this indicates that it's time to unleash your power. He replies, I told you, this is not my battle. He walks away and they say to him, this battle was your father and mother's battle. He is shocked and asks, what do you mean? They reply, just as your father and mother were 2 of us, you are one of us too. And if you leave now, you'll never know anything about your father and mother. No one will tell you anything until you die. He says, you must tell me everything about them. They reply, stay with me and you'll learn everything at the right time. For now, all you need to do is start your training and unleash the fire beast within you. He replies, you're forcing me to stay here. They respond, I'm ready to do anything to protect the weapon of Abraham Astra. You're the only one who knows who is fighting to gather the weapon. That's why you must stay here. Say goodbye to your beloved to start your training. He leaves them and goes to bid farewell to Aisha. She also leaves him and walks away. The guide speaks to him and asks, who is this Junoon? He replies, she's someone obsessed with the weapon and wants to collect the 3 pieces at any cost. She always carries a coal-like stone. He asks, okay, what else? He replies, there's something else, but it's not clear in the vision. There's a spiritual guide who always supports her, enhances her power, and protects her from death. He asks, do you know anything else? He replies, no, I don't know anything else. But what I'm sure of is that she wants to kill you and take the pieces you have. And I don't think you can stop her because she's much stronger than you. He laughs and says, what you don't know about Junoon is that I have a new weapon that will finish her and everyone with her, but it's not working yet. To activate it, he must believe in his abilities. You need to find the switch to activate your power, Shiva. Look at your companions who came before you. He looks at them. Shiva plays with his stick in front of Rafina, who is holding a shield with deadly defensive abilities. The child Ching can control the wind. Shiva begins training and tries to produce fire from his hand but fails. At the end of the day, he goes to sleep and sees a vision of those young people. Junoon enters and chains them, taking full control of them. Then he sees Aisha sitting and thinking about him, but a divine figure appears and pressures her. He becomes suspicious of the figure and says, tell me where the spiritual guide is. She gets scared and runs, but he chases after her. Suddenly, she stops in front of him confidently and says, I won't tell you. 3 people associated with the guide protect her and completely restrain him, but the son of the pyramid frees himself and escapes. He breaks a wall, causing Aisha to fall below. Shiva wakes up screaming and runs to call her. She answers and says, are you okay? She replies, don't worry, the guide's men saved me. The guide comes to him and says, don't worry, I told my men to bring Aisha here. But Shiva doesn't calm down and says, you don't understand anything. I feel that Aisha is the switch to activate my power. No fire comes out of my body unless she's beside me. They ask him, why don't you like fire? Why don't you like seeing it in front of you? He replies, because it was the reason for my mother's death. My mother died burned. They say, it was an accident. Fire has many benefits when we control it, Shiva. And you too must use the fire within you wisely and learn to control it so you don't harm people who don't deserve harm and use it against those who do. Shiva is convinced and finally touches the fire. His power begins to emerge from his body, and he starts to control it. He keeps training his abilities until he reaches a level that amazes everyone around him. The guide says to him, "Keep this lighter with you to unleash your power." Suddenly, one of those controlled by Junoon appears and runs towards Shiva. But Shiva hides his power, so the person leaves and continues into the forest. Shiva says, he's wearing the same stone that Junoon wears. The guide says, "It's time for you to know the story of your mother and father. Come with me." He points to a masterpiece that transforms into a box. Inside the box is the second piece Junoon is searching for. He says, "All of you know that this weapon is divided into 3 pieces, but originally it was one piece that we all protected. The idol you see, Shiva, was the strongest among us. His name was Dev, the king of fire. He was filled with greed for all the weapons. He wanted to possess many weapons to increase his power. He actually collected many weapons and gained different abilities. He increased his power to reach Astra's weapon. He managed to defeat all the students and take the weapon. With all his malice, he began using the weapon without caring about destroying the world. But someone stood up to him and struck Astra's weapon with all her strength, splitting it into 3 pieces. This was the only way to stop the weapon. She managed to defeat Dev and extinguish his fire. The battle ended with Amrita's victory, but unfortunately, the ship returned without her. However, it carried 2 pieces of Astra's weapon, while the 3rd piece was lost on the island during the battle. They keep walking until they reach the area, but it's completely empty. Shiva says, "So the battle is over. You told me you would tell me my parents' story." They reply, "This is your parents' story. They loved each other before the war between them. Before the war, your mother was pregnant with Dev's child, but your father fought because of Dev's greed for power, and your mother fought to save the world. 30 years later, I saw you in front of me and noticed the fire ability within you, the same ability as your father, Dev. I realized your mother didn't die in the war and lived long enough to give birth to you." He says, "Why should I believe your words?" Rafina interrupts and says, "I found this necklace. They say it belongs to Junoon." They find that Junoon has taken control of the people in the area, turning them into an army to fight with her. The guide drops a tree on them and they leave, returning to the fortress. At that time, Aisha returns and Shiva runs to her, hugging her. He notices she brought something of his mother's with her. She says, "The guide asked me to bring your mother's belongings here." The guide says, "I'm the one who requested this thing to prove my words to you when I told you the 3rd piece of the Astra weapon was lost on the island." He grabs a soap and lets it drip onto his mother's shell. The shell transforms and becomes the 3rd piece of the Astra weapon. I tell him this is the proof that you are the son of Dev and Amrita. He says, "So my father Dev is still alive and hasn't died. The body I kept seeing in the vision matches Dev's description. This piece is surrounded by weapons from all directions, fueling its Junoon and giving it strength to collect the Astra weapon and restore it. But over my dead body will that happen?" He leaves the palace with Isha and demonstrates his fire skills in front of her. Meanwhile, Junoon attacks the palace with her army and captures everyone, including the guide and all the students. Junoon takes the 2nd piece of the weapon. Shiva returns to the palace and finds everyone tied up. He tries to free the guide, who tells him to focus. The shackles have an extraordinary power, and Shiva is the only one who can break them. The guide tells him Junoon took the 2nd piece and captured Rani. She will torture her until she gets the 3rd piece. Shiva says he will give her the 3rd piece to save Rani. The guide warns him it's dangerous, but Shiva tells him to trust him. The guide urges Shiva to burn Junoon and everyone with her. Fired up, Shiva confronts Junoon and tells her he has the piece. She thanks him for helping her with this mission. Shiva tells her, "Believe me, Junoon, Dev is deceiving you. I don't want you. I want to get rid of Dev forever." She tells him to speak respectfully about his masters. Shiva throws the 3rd piece into the air. Everyone approaches him, and Isha lights the lighter. Shiva creates a circle of fire and burns everything around it. However, Dev strengthens and protects them. They attack Shiva with weapons, but Shiva only defends himself. Shiva gets angry. A fiery entity emerges from his body and starts destroying them one by one. But Junoon, that cunning woman, communicates with Dev, who gives her the power to control clouds. The clouds pour rain on Shiva, extinguishing his fire, which is his strength. They approach to kill him, but Shiva's allies arrive just in time. Isha runs to take the 2 pieces of the weapon, dodging bullets from all directions. Shiva sets their weapons on fire. Junoon orders her men not to ignite any fire, as Shiva draws his power from it. Isha grabs the pieces and Junoon rushes toward her, but Shiva stops her and tells Isha to flee. Junoon commands her men to take the weapon piece from Shiva and finish him off. Shiva unleashes a fiery storm on them. Junoon's men overwhelm Shiva and pin him to the ground, ready to kill him. The fire ignites, which is exactly what Shiva was waiting for. He draws strength from the fire and explodes, defeating them one by one. Shiva, in his prime, fights fiercely. Junoon captures Isha and is about to take the two pieces and kill her. Shiva arrives and creates a wall of fire, telling Junoon to surrender or lose her life. She responds, "My life isn't mine to lose, and those who own it won't let me die." Before Shiva can stop her, she contacts Dev, who halts Shiva. She leaves and heads toward Isha. Junoon's men grab Shiva, and the fight continues. A fierce battle ensues, with Junoon almost overpowering Isha. But a child intervenes, lifting both Junoon and Isha into the air and throwing Junoon to the ground. Just as Junoon is about to kill Shiva, but he saves him at the last moment. A young man draws his fiery weapon and stabs Junoon's ally. Everyone rejoices, and Isha hugs the child who saved her. But suddenly a knife pierces his back, and he falls. It's revealed that Junoon, still alive, killed him. She takes the stones from Isha and completes the Astra weapon. She sacrifices herself as an offering, and the weapon activates. The ground begins to crumble, and Isha can't move. Shiva rushes toward her, but the guide warns him it's the beginning of the end, and they must flee immediately. He tells Shiva to leave Isha, as going to her will mean death. Shiva replies, "I can't live without her," and runs to Isha. Once he reaches her, Isha hugs him, saying if he had fled, he would have saved his life. He tells her, "You are my life, and I came here to save you." The light is about to strike them, but Shiva's power emerges, blocking the light. The guide resigns himself to death while Shiva struggles to stop the light. After much effort, Shiva's power connects with the Astra weapon, restoring everything to normal. Shiva takes the weapon, his powers evolve, and he can now produce fire from his body without a lighter. The story ends with the emergence of a statue of Dev. As soon as the light emanates from the statue, Dev returns to life, intending to destroy the world. And that's where the story ends. Don't forget to check out the channel, watch previous videos, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.